Hey, good afternoon and good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining so promptly. If you can see me, I'm Simon Leyland, so we'll just give people another 30 seconds just to come along. I'll give you a weather update in the UK, which may come as no surprise. It's grey clouds. There we go. Just give people another 30 seconds and then we'll get going. All right, we will get going. So, hi everyone. As I say, my name is Simon Leyland. Welcome to this session. Thank you for joining. Just to let everyone know, the session will be recorded and we'll be sending the slides out after. But today we'll be really talking about the future of contact center and how technologies like Amazon Connect, alongside our own maturity model, can help improve customer experience all the way along the line. So whether that be, we'll cover hopefully AI. I know that's a big subject, customer-centric experiences, but we'll be providing real-world insights and strategies that can really transform contact centers. So yeah, really looking forward to it over the next sort of 50 minutes. And also we have a Q&A, so please give us questions. We really like that. We're kind of we much prefer to get the questions and kind of give the sort of standard stuff. So please, we'll have plenty of time for questions. So what are we going to do today? The main thing we're going to really go for is a fireside chat. So we're really fortunate to have a couple of really great people from AWS with us. We'll introduce Puneet and Ari as we go, but that's really going to take the kind of form the core of the webinar, and then I'll also provide a little bit of information on what we call our maturity journey, because hopefully what we talk about today is exciting and kind of gets people interested, but we do believe there is a process that you need to get there, and we can do that. And then, as I say, Q&A as well. So if we have more questions, we'll kind of reduce my time and then we'll go for questions as well. So as I say, let me introduce the speakers. So I'm Simon Leyland. I'm one of the co-founders of CloudInteract, and yeah, we've got two Amazon solution architects with us today, Ari and Puneet. So thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And as we get to the fireside chat, I'll let them introduce themselves and give their own background. But we really appreciate the partnership on both sides. So thank you. So a little bit about CloudInteract. Why were we created, I guess, is the question. We're under 2 years old. And we're really on a mission to improve customer experience, because I guess, as if you walk into a room or a bar and say, hey, I think as humans we've really cracked customer experience, you probably get a little bit laughed at. People just don't believe that. It's not their shared experience, and that's probably due to a combination of technology and business processes. But we believe that actually the technology is there right here, right now, to get to solve those issues. And we'll probably talk a little bit, and that's what we will talk about today. So that's what we're formed. We're formed to help provide the technology and also support the business through the changes. So how do we do that? Just a couple of slides on how we do that, and then we'll get into some of the challenges and then the fireside. So what are our three areas? So the first one I want to talk about is the communication channels. So we still see a lot of organizations that say we can only do voice. Now that could well be an issue around technology, or it could, as I say, be around, it's just old processes that support voice. But what we want to do, and what we do with Amazon Connect, is we want to meet the customers where they want to be. So it's not a one shot, you can only provide voice or you can only provide chat. We believe that we want to provide a platform for customers that have their preference. So that's why we like to use Amazon Connect. You can have voice, absolutely rock solid global platform on voice, chat, and we're also interested in doing video as well. So we've got some of our customers who are interested in doing video appointments, and it may well be that some people want to do automation, so they just want automatic. But we believe that actually providing all those capabilities is a really important part of the overall service. And we'll talk about that a bit later. The second area is around data. So it's interesting that data, you think that in every organization, data is centralized and it's managed really well. But we all know that that isn't the case in most organizations. It's spread around. So we've got to make sure that we try and bring it together. And in addition, the contact center generates a lot of data as well. So that could be phone calls. It could be using CRMs. And I think that's where we get some of the frustration of you're phoning, you contact an organization, their customer experience, and you have to go on the phone, and then the phone breaks. So then you go into chat, and it doesn't really work together. Or you go the other way, where you go into chat, and the chat can't answer the problem. So you want to escalate it to voice. You go to the voice agent. And the voice agent may not know anything, or typically doesn't know anything about the chat that's already taken place, and that just creates frustration. And that often is technology. So we see quite a lot of customers who implement point solutions for voice, point solution for chat, maybe a point solution for video or automation. That's 4 different silo pieces of data that are just stuck around, and it's very hard to bring them together. Whereas with Amazon Connected AWS, we can really bring all that in together and also integrate with other data sources as well. So data is really important. And then finally, onto AI. So it's really interesting. I'm always a little bit worried about buzzwords and hype cycles. But a few months ago, we went to a customer event where we didn't have any technology providers. We just had end customers who were running contact centers, and I wanted to test about, is AI real? Is it something that people are worried about, people thinking about? And absolutely is the case. There are very clear advantages to deploying AI in terms of automation, deploying agents. But at the moment, we're still probably in a fairly immature space where the chatbots again probably cause more frustration than kind of improve customer experience. They're a little bit imprecise, a little bit inflexible. So we really want to drill down into how we do that. And again, we've got some specific areas that we're looking at. And again, using the AWS products like Bedrock and Amazon Connect, bringing those 2 areas together to really kind of bringing into a very secure and specific set of capabilities for within particular contact centers. So we're kind of quite excited about that. So let me just give you a quick overview of our credentials. So we do talk across the boards, but our focus is on Amazon. As you can see, we've got 7 Amazon Connect ambassadors. We're service delivery partner, and we've got the Amazon Connect ambassadors. And in our less than 2 years, we've got a few people on here from Pearson. So that's a very big project of ours. We enjoyed doing that. That was a very quick project in terms of several thousand agents in under a year. So that was get off a burning platform. So that was really interesting. And then on the medical side, we've got a clinical research organization. So Again, that they had a very definitive timeline, and we've got them off that timeline, and now we're talking about the future, and we'll talk about how we kind of maybe progress along a maturity model as well. And then finally with Swoop, really interesting company. They go to some fascinating places like the Antarctic and Patagonia, and we're really excited to kind of help them both from a sales side and also from a support side. So real variety of use cases that we already have. And as I say, we're less than 2 years old, and we're gaining new ones all the time. So that's kind of where we are as a company. Now, let's just turn into our session with Ari and Puneet, really. So, first of all, Ari and Puneet, I'd love you just to introduce yourselves, and then also we've got a slide on the challenges as well. So maybe Ari, Puneet, if you could just introduce yourselves, give you a bit of background, then we'll go on to Ari. You'll have a slide that you'll just give some of the challenges, and then we'll get straight into the fireside.
Thank you, Simon. I'll go first. Hi, everyone. I'm Puneet Badlani. I'm based out of Chicagoland in US. I've been with AWS a little over 2 years now. Overall, I have about 25, 26 years experience in the contact center industry. So been around long enough. Ari, all yours.
Thanks, Puneet. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I'm Ari Hazekamp. I am based in Barcelona, in Spain, which is kind of like the UK at the moment. It's very cloudy and wet, to be honest. I've been with AWS for almost 3 years and been in the contact center business since the early 2000s, to be honest. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here with everyone.
Great, thanks, Ari. So you provided a slide. So would you just take 5 minutes just to take us through that, just to some of the challenges? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a slide I suppose we use with all our partner and customer engagements normally. What we're trying to do here is really summarize what we are hearing from our customers and our partners, specifically in the customer experience contact center space. And I'm fairly sure this will resonate with everyone on the call, really. But customers experience these inconsistent, repetitive interactions across channels. Simon, you alluded to that earlier. Agents are forced to work with inefficient old systems across many third-party applications or screens. And this impacts their onboarding time, it impacts their experience, which ultimately impacts, your customer's experience. Supervisors, operational managers in the contact centers lack access to integrated data, and this prevents them from being able to monitor, measure, and improve, business outcomes in that contact center. And then, on the other side, you sit with administrators, you sit with IT, that deal with a lot of technology barriers, which lead to slow innovation, high costs, long implementation times. There was a Gartner survey in 2023 that actually highlighted that one of the greatest challenges organizations expressed was moving fast enough to keep up with the way that their customers want to experience support. So, these challenges absolutely tell us that organizations aren't happy with the experiences that their contact centers are providing. And yet when they try and improve these experiences, in their existing environments, they find that it's either too much effort, it's too costly, or it is too late when they find out what they've bought and implemented has actually failed to deliver the outcomes that they were looking for. So, at AWS, we think about these challenges, we think about customer experience all the time. And we really believe that with services like Amazon Connect, and adjacent services, Amazon Lex for natural language understanding, Amazon Bedrock bringing in, generative AI. We can absolutely solve for these challenges with our partners and our customers.
Yeah, brilliant. Great. That's a really great summary. Thank you, Ari. Really appreciate that. So we're going to just move into our fireside chat now. So we're going to get into a little bit more depth around all these issues. So I'm going to stop sharing because then you kind of hopefully you might get to see a little bit more of a video of the three of us. So I'm just going to stop that. Stop presenting. So hopefully you get to see our video. Okay, so let's just and one of my favorite stories about Amazon and about AWS and Amazon Connect is the fact that Amazon.com several years ago went to market looking for a customer experience platform and have lots of requirements and they couldn't find anything. So I mean, I think it says a lot about Amazon and AWS. They're like, well, we're just going to build our own anyway. So that's the genesis of Amazon Connect, right? I mean, it supports Amazon.com, and it's really moved on and accelerated over the last 7 years. But in terms of customer experience, myself, I mean, the three of us, we've all been in this industry for many years. How would you say it's changed over the last sort of 5 years? What impact? What's kind of really driven it? Maybe Puneet, has it come to you first? What are the big sort of changes that you've witnessed?
I think I'll talk about a couple of them. One of them is something that you pointed out in your talk earlier about point solutions. I think people are more and more wanting to move away from point solutions because that adds layers of inflexibility, integration points, failure points, cost, and all of that. So more and more of our customers want a larger solution that has at least most, if not all, of the core features. And that's where I feel the industry is also moving, where they want to be able to build it on one platform rather than having to work to integrate different ones. The other one that I would talk about is the agility, where the speed to go to market, adopt new technologies is becoming critical. And I think the way generative AI has just exploded is a great indicator of that, where you want to be able to adopt these new technologies, whether it's play with them, try them out, and then launch them, or just go ahead and launch them for a subsector of your customer base. So I think those are two big things that I see where people are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Harry, how about you? What have you kind of noticed over the last 3-4 years?
Yeah, look, I think businesses have started to really acknowledge how their customers want to be dealt with, right? So, and what does that mean? That means offering the channels that the customer would like to engage with, and offering the right experiences on those channels, and not just putting something there because it sounds good. Not bringing generative AI in to try and keep up with the next guy. So expanding channels, making customer experiences more predictive. So trying to understand the customer, making them more personal. And that can be from just, simple thing like greeting you by name, if you've already authenticated, making sure that the agent can do that. And not have to ask for your detail again. So it can be really simple and obviously a lot more complex. I think those are the big things at the moment that I'm seeing a lot of. Look, as you know, with AWS, our roadmap for things for all our services is driven by customer feedback, 90+%. So we bring things on board as customers are asking for them.
Yeah. And I think one of the big changes for me, and I think this is something that we always try and it's kind of difficult to get across, but I feel that in the contact center technology area over the last however many years, 10, 15, 20 years, the kind of the deployment cycle and the mature and the life cycle of a contact center is like in many years. So it's like, look, we're going to put a change in or a big change, and it'll take maybe 2 years to make the change, and then we've got another 3, 4, 5 years, and the kind of people are in that mindset. Whereas I think that has completely, and it's really interesting to try and kind of break that mindset of you don't need to do that now. It's a lot quicker. The technology is there, the platform is there, and you can move at pace, and people really don't appreciate that. And um, so that's kind of one thing that we're trying to educate people on. It's like you can go really fast in this area, and I think you probably have to go fast because I think there are organizations that are understanding. It's like, well, and we'll come on and talk about AI and automation in a second. That you kind of got to get onto that platform pretty quick because I've never seen this is a quick moving. This is a quick AI is a quick moving technology, right? I mean, and it's quickly being adopted. Are you guys seeing that or?
I, if I can jump in there quickly, Puneet, I absolutely agree with you, right? One of the benefits of the cloud is being able to experiment and use the agility in order to keep up, in order to provide the best service. I think it's important that with that speed, almost comes the responsibility of not just going for speed, right? You've got to really understand what you're trying to achieve, and then make sure that when that is exposed outside of your business, especially, that it really works well. It's very hard to earn trust back when you've delivered really bad experiences because you're trying to do things quickly. So with AI, I would always say focus internally first. Learn from what you do internally before you make that next jump.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Puneet, I cut
No,
you
no,
off there.
no, that's perfect. I want to go a little deeper into what one thing you said is, take your time and understand what are you trying to achieve. When Chat GPT kind of exploded about a year or so back, 6 months ago, talking to my customers, I would say 100 people are talking about generative AI. Maybe 20 understand what it actually is, and 10 want to adopt it. Maybe two actually have a use case. So that's the point of Aries where I want to drill a little more is have a use case, understand what the benefits that you and results and outcomes that you want to drive out of it. Feel free, play with it, experiment with it in a sandbox, do it internally. A lot of these larger companies, enterprises will have internal HR departments, finance, IT, where they have smaller call centers. Those are great areas to play around where your employees can get involved and excited and help you build those out for your external customers. So that's the thing. The point I'm trying to make is understand what is the use case that you want to drive, what is the benefit and outcome. Some of these technologies do have substantial cost associated with them. So that's one angle. The other one I would really, really drill down is, again, what Ari said is what is the impact to your brand? These are you can be agile, you can be fast and add these technologies, but be careful about what is the impact to your brand. And coming back from a bad experience isn't always the easiest thing. So be careful about those things.
Yeah. Yeah, we've actually got a question. I don't know if you guys can see that in the chat, but Christine's asked a question around in Azure. They can do and initiate an entirely private GPT LLM We should not expose client data outside the security perimeter. What is the approach of AWS for solving this same problem? Do you want to answer that now, or should we just park that and we can answer that a little bit later? It's just probably feels part of the conversation.
So I can take that up now. So Christine, it's within Bedrock, you do, and a combination of SageMaker, you do have ways that you can build your own model, or you can take a publicly available model, train it on your data, and create a instance, so as to speak, of that model with your trained data. And then whatever services that you want to consume that model are gated within that. It won't go out, and you're not able to get external. So there are mechanisms where you can control it, and that's been a big area of focus for us. We want to make sure that the experience that our customers and our partners' customers have is secure. We always say security is a day zero job at AWS. We're highly focused on it. We don't want any data leakages. We want to avoid hallucinations, etc. So common things that we've seen come up have been areas of focus where we try and control those. Anything you'd like to add there?
No, just, as you said, security is priority number one for us at AWS. In saying that, we do have a concept of a shared responsibility model, where you can think of this as I don't know, we give you a car, we give you the keys to that car, but it is up to you, when you stop that car, whether you lock it, whether you close the windows. So all the tools are there for you to make your generative AI solution as secure as it needs to be. And you control that, but we make it possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can talk. Sorry, go ahead, Puneet. Did you?
Sorry, Simon. I was saying that the analogy I use is very similar to yours. That we've given you a car with a seat belt. Please use that seat belt.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I can talk to that a little bit more in several of our experiences. So we don't just deploy Amazon Connect, but we often deploy a data lake as well. So, and the idea behind that is that we then we're able to take the data that's generated from Amazon Connect, but put it into a secure area that's not training any other model. It's not going anywhere outside the customer's domain. It's whoever's, whoever we implement for, it's their data, and it's there to access. And what we really like about Amazon and AWS is it's like you say, they provide the building blocks. Just to use a slightly different analogy, they provide all the building blocks that partners like ourselves can then kind of pick up and then use in the best possible way. Because for some customers, a data lake, you may not need that. I just need, I need 100 agents and take the phone or maybe chat. Absolutely fine. But I think what we're seeing now in every instance is they want to create this secure data area. And then we want to then plug that data into again another secure large language model that is not shared. It's within the customer domain. And the one thing that we also really like about Bedrock is, so if anyone doesn't know what Amazon Bedrock is, I feel nervous now that I'm going to try and explain this when I got two experts on the phone, but here we go. It's AWS's generative AI product, where it really allows us as a partner to choose the best model for that particular purpose. So let me just try and bring that to life. So let's say you did have a medical contact center that the top priority is it had to be right. The data had to be right, and the answer has to be right. They're regulated. It has to be validated. There are particular models that large language models that are actually better at accuracy than they are at speed. So we could potentially choose that model as opposed to another model that is more speed. So I'm thinking there of probably Anthropic. They even have different models that say, oh, if you really need speed. So again, let's go to another example where you've got maybe several thousand transactions going on in a second, and you want to and you want to do those in an automator, you want to do it quickly, and it's a relatively simple task, then we'll probably choose a different model for you. So that's what we really like about the Bedrock solution. It kind of gives you all that way, all that way through. So did I do that all right? Was that okay, Ari and Puneet? Did I get that?
I think so. Look, I mean, the short, concise answer there is it's our service that allows you to access the right model for your use case via API, and consume that service in a consumptive way. But I think you did touch on something there, Simon, and generative AI or as a concept. The large language model is there for things like understanding a natural language question, responding in a specific way, summarizing content, maybe generating new content. It is not going to fix your data. If your data is in an unhealthy state, you've got multiple versions with conflicting data spread across different repositories. It's not going to deliver the results you're looking for. So I think we've been kind of trying to eat this big elephant in the room for years. And they've always been little plasters we've stuck onto the data problem. But I think this current hype around generative AI is actually forcing businesses to look at their data in a much more critical way, making sure that it is in the right state.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think in a few minutes' time, I'll take you through what we call our maturity model, because I do believe it is a process, and you have to go through that process. You have to get on the right technology. You have to then which then generates the data, but you then have to put the data in the right model, and then you have to then just start to exploit that. And I know we got a question around it. It sounds complex, and I think sometimes you just have to be honest. Think where we are with AI. I think where I get a little bit frustrated is that particular vendors can come along and say, "Oh yes, we'll fix it. You just turn it on. It's a black box." Now, there may well be certain circumstances where it is a black box and you can turn it on, but in my experience and most customer experience platforms, that is not. That's what leads to the frustrating experiences of, oh, we'll turn it on, and then all of a sudden it starts hallucinating, or it starts or giving just at worst it gives the wrong answer, or at best, or it just creates frustration because, I can't answer that. And we've got a process where, and we'll talk you through it, as I say, in a second, where I think we can apply a little bit more intelligence, and we can use that. So hopefully, Dan, who's just asked a question around that, hopefully I'll cover that in a second. But Dan does also have a question: is there a single security policy for all the LLMs? Well, yes, you can have that. Absolutely, you can have that. It's, as Puneet and Ari said, you can basically, you're in control of your data within AWS. That's for sure, and you're in control. Okay, all right. Sorry, go ahead, Puneet. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can have a single security policy. I would encourage you to consider, is that good enough? Because you're going to have different use cases. You're going to have different people, different roles accessing these LLMs for different reasons. In most cases, I would imagine a single security policy is either going to be too permissive or too restrictive. So you will come across a scenario where you may want to have more than one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, and the examples there may well be, there may be one queue or one particular customer experience track that that has PII data in it, and you want to strip that PII data out. So yes, you can have a particular policy there or different. So yeah, that's definitely possible. Okay, so just we're going to wrap up this session with just one final question. So maybe, and it's the same question to both of you. So for people looking to reimagine their contact center environments, what's your top tip? Sort of service delivery, reduce costs, or boost customer satisfaction and performance? What would you give us? Where would companies start and then look to go? What would be your kind of key recommendation? Ari, why don't we start with you?
Look, besides focusing on your data, you need to focus on your data, whether you're going to be using a generative AI solution somewhere in your contact center or not. Good data is the right foundation for good customer experience. I've always thought of customer experience as three kind of key pillars. One being brand, a consistent brand experience across your channels. Don't make it difficult or totally different chat versus WhatsApp versus voice, as an example. Keep it consistent. Have context of what's going on and use that context. Don't ask someone to authenticate in an IVR and then again when they get to an agent. Make sure that context is used across the journey. And then lastly, people, have enabled, empowered people delivering that experience. So if you are giving your agents assistance, make sure it's the right assistance. So their experience is good and your customer's experience will be good. So yeah, focus on employee experience just as much as you do on customer experience, and work backwards from the customer. We say that all the time. Don't do something for an internal reporting requirement only. Pretty.
Thanks, Ari. So the couple of things, like as you were saying, we in every industry, not only contact center, we love our buzzwords. About a decade ago, there was a new one called CEBP, Communication Enabled Business Process. I would love to see that come back. And what that means is that look at your business process at each and every stage, every step of your business process. Explore opportunities that you can communicate proactively to your customer. So you could have a simple thing of, say, you're canceling a subscription or enabling a subscription. The customer requested, you can say send an email or a message and say, we've received your request. And then once it's done, go back and say, yes, it's been completed. What you're doing there is all of what Simon said. You're increasing customer satisfaction where the customer is aware and feels in control. They feel engaged to you and your organization and your brand. It reduces cost. They're not calling you again and again and asking the same questions. Is it done? Is it done? You're being proactive with them. And it helps you overall manage everything around it. So that's one area that I would urge a lot of my customers to relook at. And the broader view of that is look at your business processes. Where are the opportunities that you can simplify it? Are there steps that are not needed? To Ari's point, don't do something just because it's internal reporting. Is it really needed? What is the value that step is adding in that business process? Can I simplify it? Can I reduce it? And in the same vein to what Ari said, empower your people, empower your agents to make more decisions and not just be information disseminators. If they can make decisions on behalf of the organization, they're going to feel more empowered. They're going to have a more sense of responsibility and belongingness to the organization, which is going to reflect in this customer satisfaction that they give out. A lot of this I'm passionate about because I started out as a call center agent, so that operational side is what I also try and bring. And last thing that I would say is, in any bigger medium to enterprise organization, look at these projects from a holistic organizational change perspective. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a customer who's doing a 5 million, $10 million contact center transformation project and treating it like an IT project. You need to bring your entire organization because it's going to touch them, it's going to impact them, whether it is operations, whether it is IT, marketing, finance, HR. They're all going to be touched by anything that you do as big as transforming your contact center. So bring them along, create that involvement and excitement.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and include have check, and it's one of the most difficult things to do within a project in a business case. It's including change management into that project, but try and include it all the time because it's so important, both from an agent perspective, because they're probably changing how they work, right? And also from a obviously from a customer's perspective as well. But I think we sometimes do forget, oh, this is a change for agents and supervisors and managers, and include that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So I'm just going to finish up and go through what we call our maturity model. And this is really, it's like, okay, we've said a lot of stuff in the last sort of 40 minutes. So what is the process? Well, give me a process for how we can get there. So I'm just going to start sharing again. And I'm just going to take you through that, how we operate, how we work. So it's just loading it up. All right. So thank you guys. So this is our approach. It's quite a busy slide, but I'll take you through it. But I think this is a well-worn path on how to get into the most mature and almost complex areas, which generates the greatest savings and hopefully provides the best customer service. So we got 4 areas, and I'll take you through each of those in a little bit more detail in a second. But at a very high level, you've got to get the foundations right. So we find lots of customers, lots of people that do have these separate technologies, and they might have some legacy technology as well. And you got to fix that first. There's no point sort of trying to jump ahead and implementing the latest technology on foundations that just aren't there. So that's the first area. The second area is once you've done that, we're then into the sort of groundwork for growth, which is, okay, we've kind of got the data in the right shape, we've got areas, so let's start building on that. And then we really find that you can then start building intelligence and automation into the contact center. And then once you've done that as well, if you can do all those 3 steps, then I think you really are into the very later stages of being able to provide the best technology and the best processes and what we call the art of the possible. So that's full automation, AI-driven experiences, and it is possible. So that's the kind of journey that we go on. We get a little bit nervous if someone says, "Oh, we want to do full automation and data." Some of the questions we'll ask first is, "Well, where is your data at the moment?" "Oh, well, it's in pocket A, it's in silo A, B, and C." It's like, well, I've got to fix that first. So why don't I just take you through that in a little bit more detail? So this is what we are finding. We're finding that there are those disparate legacy systems and basic reporting, and that provides the limited customer insights, sort of high dependency on agents, so probably quite a lot of stress on them, and then minimal integrations. So that's where we would say, okay, how can we get you onto this platform, which is where we would take you into Amazon Connect. So we'd then sort of start to streamline the infrastructure, and then hopefully reduce costs, because we've seen that in the business cases. You know, there's one of the things about Amazon that you may or may not know is it's sort of pay as you use on the Amazon Connect side. So certainly for organizations that need to ramp up and ramp down their agents, whether it's a busy period or not, then there's a really good, you don't have to pay licenses. So we haven't yet come across a business case that hasn't worked on Amazon, moving from the sort of legacy side into the new areas. But once you get that done, then you're starting to get into a really good shape. So what happens then is that you migrate onto the cloud, into say Amazon Connect, and then you really are starting to see the scale. So you don't have to worry about, as I say, licenses. You don't really have to worry about, oh, we're going to have a surge. You've got one of the greatest, one of the biggest platforms available that you can easily scale up. And it is a very open platform as well. So it's all API driven. We've got engineers within our team that, engineer APIs between Workday and other HR platforms, and then other communication platforms as well. So start knitting together. Because again, if someone came along and said, well, we use a system for workforce management and a system for chat and a system for voice, and we're going to change all that in one go and give it a go, that's just not, it's often doesn't fly. So let's get onto the cloud, and then let's start bringing things in. So you're not quite there yet, but we've got a platform. So the opportunities, we can start to integrate systems with real time, and that's where we were talking about the data lake before. We're then starting to bring the data into there, and that's where you move to the third, where we are really getting into that kind of intelligent, automated contact center. So we've got the data, we know what's going on, we know how many calls are coming in, we know the sentiment. We're getting some really interesting, facts that we can then start to assess and start to say, okay, you currently have 1,000 calls going through a particular queue, and half of those calls are actually about one particular subject. So could we look to automate those particular calls? So rather than try and get everything going at the same time, when you get to this stage, we then still sort of differentiate and look at particular areas of, okay, what is high value and relatively easy to implement, and we'll start with those. So can we start to reduce agent involvement in those routine tasks, which will then generate those kind of greater customer satisfaction. And then of course you can then use the time to hopefully invest in agent upskilling. Because again, what we definitely don't, I certainly don't ever argue is, oh, everything can be automated. I just don't think that's realistic. I think what you can do is you can create a customer experience that says, yes, for 5 out of 10 interactions, they can be automated. But if someone really wants to talk to a human, then they should have that option, and it should go relatively quickly and easily into that. But then you shouldn't lose that interaction within your overall data. It should say, yes, customer interaction number 6, that's a voice call, and then we'll go. So that's kind of where we go there. And then just finally, and I do think this is possible, you can then start getting to this kind of fully automated state where you're using all the services, you're using voice with Lex, different types of voices, different types of characters, and you're starting to get that real-time information, and you're then starting to service a significant number of interactions that are available. So that's kind of our model, and we're seeing that in our customers at the moment. So that's kind of where we're going at the moment. So that's the maturity model. We've got a couple more questions coming in, so I'm just going to stop sharing. and we'll just deal with the final few questions in the final 5 minutes. So if you've got any more questions, please just put them in. So pay as you go is good, comes with risks, and is underestimated workload cost. What is the team's response to accurately sizing of individual components? We do hear that quite a bit. There's almost a little bit of, how do we pay as you go is a really good opportunity, but people are worried about it. So do you guys, Ari and Puneet, do you guys come across that challenge much in your area?
Oh, I do. And one of the biggest things I advise my customers is to set up billing alerts because, yes, it's pay per use, but at the end of the day, you still have a budget that you need to adhere to in the backside. So set up billing alerts. They'll keep informing you of where you are from a dollar value, and if you suddenly see a spike, you can try and understand where is it coming from. Is it something that was intended or expected, or was it unexpected? So it gives you a certain amount of awareness and control. Ari?
Yeah, agree. But it's also very important to understand your business and your volumes, the way that you are servicing your customers. Without that understanding, I agree, it's difficult to price. But if you understand the volumes, it's not really. It becomes fairly easy to do. All our pricing is public. It's on the website. You can have a look at everything. And really is pay as you use. I see there's a comment about, or a question on workforce management and AI tools. Some of our functionality in Connect may, I suppose, appear to be on a per user basis, but it's not really. It is consumption based. It's I'll take the forecasting, capacity planning, and scheduling as an example. You pay per month for an agent who receives a forecasted schedule. So in peak times, maybe you've got 1,000 agents, where other months you might have 500 agents. So no upfront contracting, all of that CapEx upfront licenses, that's not part of the model.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ari, I'll add to that. Yes, this is something we do hear about pricing. Having said that, I would say work with Simon and his team. They have access to other AWS experts around this, and given your volumes, they can come back with a fairly accurate model of what it would cost you under these circumstances. I'll also quickly pick up the question around Bedrock pricing. Yes, it is pay per use.
By token, I think, isn't it? That's right. And on the business case side, thank you, Puneet, for mentioning that, because that is one of our it's one of the areas that we've got a lot of experience in, and we always like to do the business case in a very conservative way. So yeah, please engage us with that, because we absolutely believe I understand the challenge around pay as you go, but actually the benefits far outweigh it, as long as you're just cautious and sensible on the business case. And actually, the biggest challenge, just be completely honest, well, it's not a challenge, it's one of the sort of things that we've kind of scratched our head at is actually we've done the business cases, and actually the usage is coming under, like, fairly, not significantly under, but it is certainly coming under, and we're kind of interested to know why that is. And I personally think it's because I think as you get onto Amazon Connect, there's almost fewer issues, like on the technology side, so there's less repeated calls or whatever, and that does make a difference. Maybe it's 10% or whatever, but there's definitely something there. So yeah, and also on the other side, we also put in line some cost dashboards as well. So we've done those. So we've done those for ourselves, and and as part of a kind of a managed service that we can give, we provide that as part of. So we have some escalation management that we can do. We can do some business engagement, but we also do some cost dashboards that basically provide you with the information. Because again, as Ari and Puneet have mentioned, the information's all there. We just put that together and then present that as a kind of a run case. So you should never be worried about, oh, I don't know what my costs could be in the next few months. As long as you know what your volumes are, then that it's fairly well known. All right. Just looking at I think we've probably covered most of the areas. So last call out for any last few questions, but thank you very much, just again, Ari and Puneet, for being part of this. We really appreciate it. It just shows, the strong, what great partners you are. But I think we're probably coming to the close. Any closing comments, Ari, Puneet?
No, not from my side. Thank you for having us. It's always great to work with partners like yourselves that really lean in and really put the emphasis on the customer, and have really, really good capability to deliver.
Yeah, thank you. I should also say we have a podcast as well. So if anyone's interested in the Amazon Connect podcast, I think Ari's already been on it. And also I'm going to get shouted out by, I should have put this slide up far earlier. If anyone wants to go through that kind of maturity journey assessment, you can scan the QR code or you can get in touch with us. We're happy to kind of get that on as being part of this webinar. Get in touch with us and we'll look at doing that as well. But yeah, Puneet, any last remarks from you?
No, pleasure being here. Always enjoy these conversations and also questions from customers. I know Den's reposted a question that maybe Simon or Ari, you want to take around the maturity model and data sets.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if we've had that issue. I think I haven't had that issue. Apart from, I know that we've definitely integrated into on-premise solutions, but then it may well be that you're thinking that there isn't access into that on-premise solution. But we've definitely integrated on-premise data sources into the cloud, and that's again via the kind of APIs. That's it. But we have done that. But maybe is that your question? I don't know if that answers your question. Ari, have you got any experience in that area?
Look, it absolutely depends on the customer's appetite for adopting the cloud, right? I can agree with Den and say, yes, there will be enterprises that never ever want to move everything to the cloud, but there will be others that are realizing the benefits of the cloud and will be moving data. So I don't think there's a kind of a yes/no answer to that question.
Yeah. We had one special one just recently that their CRM hadn't been updated since 2010. So that was pretty special. Can you integrate that into Amazon Connect? And we could, because the data, you kind of can do it in that way. But there's probably not one simple answer to that. Excellent. We are right at time. So again, thank you very much, Ari, Puneet. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for staying with us. Please get in touch. We'd love to talk more about that as well. So thank you all.